She sold herself to save her child, the human, who gave her a brighter life. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the medical device beside her son, Kyan, whose breaths came in shallow, uneven waves. The doctor's words echoed in her mind, cold and final. Without the treatment, he won't survive the month. Tears welled in her eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. She had always been strong for Kyan, even when life had been harsh. Losing him was not an option, not now, not ever. Alara had lived on the edge of society for years. The city outside her window was a gleaming metropolis, filled with towering skyscrapers, bright advertisements, and the hum of advanced technology. Ships rose and fell from the orbital docks like giant metal birds. The world seemed full of opportunity, but not for someone like her. A single mother without family or wealth struggled to keep up. Her work in the factory barely covered rent, let alone the expensive treatments Kyan needed. The medical bills had piled up quickly. The cure for Kyan's condition existed, but it was expensive beyond comprehension, available only to those who could pay or had influence. Every day that passed without the treatment was a countdown closer to losing her son. Alara had tried everything. Loans, begging, even minor illegal work, but nothing could cover the costs in time. Then, a flyer arrived under her door, delivered by a sleek drone. A chance to save your loved ones, work with the Interstellar Development Corporation, training and housing provided. Unlimited opportunities, in return your labor for one cycle, immediate medical access included. Alara had stared at it for hours. The words promised salvation, but the price was terrifying. Selling herself, not in a personal sense, but her freedom, her autonomy, to the corporation was risky. But it offered her one thing nothing else could, Kyan's life. She held the flyer in her hand, feeling the weight of her decision. She looked at Kyan asleep with a small smile on his lips. His chest rose and fell, fragile and precious. Her mind made the choice before her heart could argue. "I'll do it," she whispered to herself, voice trembling. "I'll save you, Kyan, no matter what it takes." The next morning, Alara packed her few belongings. Her heart ached as she closed the apartment door, leaving behind the only home she had ever known. Outside, the city was already alive with movement, people rushing to work, hovering vehicles streaking past, robots tending to the streets. She felt small among them, insignificant in a world that moved too quickly, too efficiently. The Interstellar Development Corporation's office was located in one of the tallest towers in the city. The building gleamed with metal and glass, reflecting the sunlight in sharp, blinding angles. Security guards greeted her without a word, scanning her ID and allowing her entry. Inside, humans and aliens moved side by side, speaking in languages she had never heard before. She felt a shiver of fear, but also awe. A tall man in a crisp uniform approached her. His name was Director Rawl, a human who had risen through the ranks by intellect and ambition. His eyes were sharp but not unkind. "Welcome, Alara," he said. "We understand your situation. We also understand your decision. Are you ready to begin?" Alara swallowed hard. "Yes." "I have no other choice." Rawl nodded. "Good. You'll be assigned tasks according to your skills. We value intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving. You will work alongside other humans and aliens. Remember, your dedication will secure your son's treatment." They led her to a transport elevator that took her up hundreds of stories above the city. She watched the streets shrink below, feeling a mixture of fear and hope. Soon, she would arrive at the orbital station, a city floating above the planet. There, she would live and work until her contract was fulfilled. The journey to the station was long, giving her time to reflect. She thought about her life before Kyan's illness, the dreams she once had, and the sacrifices she had made. Every memory strengthened her resolve. She was not giving up. She was fighting, and she would fight with everything she had. When the transport docked at the station, Alara stepped out into a world unlike anything she had ever seen. The station was enormous, a web of metal, glass, and light floating in the void of space. Ships of various shapes and sizes came and went, some piloted by humans, others by aliens with forms she could barely comprehend. The station's corridors were bustling with life. Robots delivered goods with precision, humans moved with efficiency, and aliens of all kinds communicated in ways that fascinated and intimidated her. Despite the fear curling in her stomach, she felt a spark of excitement. Humans had built this. She realized for the first time that humanity's ingenuity had reached far beyond her home planet. Alara was assigned to a living quarter, small but comfortable, equipped with everything necessary for her stay. A communication device connected her instantly with medical facilities. The thought of Kyan's treatment gave her courage. Her first tasks were simple but demanding, organizing supplies, assisting with data entry, and maintaining systems vital to the station's operations. Even these tasks required precision and adaptability. Mistakes were not tolerated, but she felt herself learning quickly. Days turned into weeks, and Alara began to notice something remarkable about humans on the station. Despite facing challenges she could barely imagine, they persevered. They collaborated with aliens, solved complex problems, and often found solutions no one else could. Humans were resilient, resourceful, and compassionate, even in an environment that tested every limit. One evening, as she returned from a long shift, she sat in her small room looking out at the endless stars. Kyan's face filled her mind, his smile, his laughter, his small hands that once held hers. She whispered, "I promise, Kyan, I will make this work. I will survive and you will too." A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. It was a message from Director Rawl. "Alara, your work today has been noted. You have shown initiative beyond your training. Tomorrow, you will be assigned to a special project. Prepare yourself." Alara's heart raced. She had never imagined that she could stand out in such a vast and competitive environment. The project was unknown, and that uncertainty scared her, but it also excited her. Perhaps this was the beginning of something bigger, not just survival, but purpose. That night she lay awake, listening to the hum of the station, thinking about the sacrifices she had made and the battles ahead. She realized something profound. Humans could thrive anywhere, even in the cold emptiness of space, even when circumstances seemed impossible. Her love for Kyan had brought her here, but her determination would keep her alive, keep her strong. By the time dawn approached on the station, Alara had made a silent vow. She would not just endure, she would excel. She would show that humans, no matter how ordinary they seemed, could achieve greatness when faced with impossible odds. She would become a beacon, not only for Kyan, but for everyone who had been overlooked, underestimated, or cast aside. Her journey had begun with sacrifice, but she already felt the first flickers of hope. Hope that one day her child would thrive, and that humanity, in all its resilience and brilliance, would shine brighter than ever in the vastness of the cosmos. And so, as the station moved silently through the stars, Alara prepared herself for what lay ahead. The sacrifice had been made. Now the true challenge, and the opportunity to prove the strength of a human heart, was just beginning. Alara woke to the soft hum of the station's life support system. The small room she had been given felt strange but safe, a tiny island in a vast, floating city above the planet. She rubbed her eyes and looked out the window at the endless darkness of space, dotted with distant stars. The station moved silently, orbiting the planet like a guardian in the sky. Today, she was to begin her special project. Director Rawl had promised challenges beyond the simple tasks of organizing supplies and maintaining systems. Alara's heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. She knew this was her chance to prove that humans were not only capable, but exceptional, even among a population that included highly advanced alien species. Her transport took her through the station's bustling corridors. Humans and aliens moved together in a complex dance of cooperation. Some aliens were tall and elegant, with translucent skin that shimmered in the station's lights. Others had multiple limbs, moving with uncanny precision. Despite their differences, everyone seemed to work as one, each species contributing its unique strengths. Alara felt a flicker of pride. Humans had made this possible. Even in a world that often seemed indifferent or hostile, they had left their mark. And now she was part of that legacy. She arrived at the project room, a large chamber filled with screens, holographic displays, and complex machinery. A small group of humans and aliens were already present, discussing strategies and data in a language that mixed human speech with alien sounds. Despite her nervousness, Alara felt her curiosity ignite. This was where humans and aliens collaborated at their highest level. "Ah, you must be Alara," said a human woman with short silver hair and sharp eyes. "I'm Maurice. We've heard about your work. Today, you'll assist with the station's energy optimization project. It's complex, but I believe you can handle it." Alara nodded, trying to appear confident even as her stomach tightened. Maurice introduced her to the alien members of the team. One of them, a tall being with shimmering violet skin, extended a limb in greeting. Though she had never seen anything like it, Alara reached out, feeling a strange sense of unity. The project was challenging. The station's energy system was designed to harness power from the planet below and the stars above. It was a delicate balance. Too much energy could overload the system, while too little could shut down vital functions. Previous teams had struggled with efficiency, and the station's administrators hoped this new approach, involving human ingenuity, would succeed. Alara immersed herself in the task. She studied the holographic schematics, suggested adjustments, and tested calculations. Her mind, sharpened by years of surviving hardship, proved to be an asset. She noticed patterns others had overlooked and proposed solutions that simplified complex processes. "Interesting," Maris said, observing her work. "Humans have a way of seeing connections others miss. Keep going." Hours passed. The project demanded precision, creativity, and collaboration. Alara's respect for the aliens grew as she observed their abilities, but she also noticed the subtle way humans adapted. They learned quickly, communicated clearly, and solved problems with both logic and intuition. Humans, she realized, could shine even in environments that seemed impossible. By the end of the day, the energy system had been significantly optimized. The station hummed with renewed efficiency, and administrators monitoring the results expressed approval. Alara felt a surge of pride. She had contributed something meaningful, something that would affect hundreds of lives on the station. That night in her small room, she thought about Kyan. She had been so focused on survival that she had almost forgotten the ultimate reason for her efforts. She reached for the communication device, connecting with the medical team assigned to her son. "Kyan's treatment has started," a cheerful voice informed her. "He is responding well. We expect continued improvement." Tears of relief filled her eyes. For the first time in weeks, Alara felt a lightness in her chest. Her sacrifice was paying off. Kyan would live. The following days brought new challenges. The station was a living entity, constantly shifting and adapting. Every corner held something new. Alien gardens that produced oxygen and food, laboratories developing new technology, and observation decks that allowed glimpses of distant planets and stars. Alara marveled at it all, realizing how humans had managed to create a place where multiple species could coexist and thrive. She also began to understand the subtle rules of the station. Success required not only skill but diplomacy. Aliens and humans worked together, but misunderstandings could easily escalate. Alara observed carefully, learning when to speak, when to listen, and how to navigate the complex social landscape. One day, a crisis arose. A minor reactor malfunction threatened to disrupt the station's energy distribution. The team scrambled, adjusting settings and rerouting power. Alara noticed a pattern in the readings and suggested a recalibration that stabilized the system. The aliens and humans looked at her in surprise, then admiration. "Excellent work," Mari said. "You are learning quickly. Humans have a unique ability to adapt under pressure. Never forget that." Alara felt pride, but she also felt responsibility. Every decision she made could affect the lives of hundreds, including her own sons. The weight of that responsibility pushed her to grow stronger, sharper, and more confident. As the weeks passed, Alara began to see the beauty of human resilience. Other humans on the station faced challenges similar to hers, distance from home, difficult work, and cultural differences. But they thrived. They formed communities, helped each other, and celebrated small victories. Humans had the ability to survive in harsh environments, to innovate, and to bring warmth to even the coldest corners of space. Alara became part of this community. She learned to communicate with aliens more effectively, using both language and gestures. She shared meals with her colleagues, exchanging stories and experiences. She laughed for the first time in months, feeling a sense of belonging. One evening, as the station orbited a distant blue planet, a warning alarm sounded. The observation deck filled with humans and aliens rushing to their stations. A nearby asteroid field had shifted, sending a large rock on a collision course with the station. Panic rippled through the crowd, but Alara's mind went to work. She studied the trajectory, calculated possible maneuvers, and suggested a coordinated response. The team executed her plan, diverting energy to propulsion and adjusting the station's shields. The asteroid passed by, missing the station by a narrow margin. Relief washed over everyone. Humans cheered, aliens expressed astonishment, and Director Rawl personally commended Alara. "Your quick thinking saved lives today," he said. "You are proof that humans, even in unfamiliar environments, can make a difference." Alara's heart swelled with pride, but she thought of Kyan immediately. Her sacrifice had led to this moment. Her child's life was safe, and she was proving that humans could not only survive but excel, even among stars. In the quiet that followed, Alara reflected on her journey. She had come to the station out of desperation, driven by love for her child. But she had discovered something more. Humanity's strength, adaptability, and ingenuity were powerful beyond measure. She had seen humans and aliens working side by side, but humans brought something unique: the spark of creativity, the courage to act, and the determination to survive. She understood now that her journey was only beginning. The station held countless challenges, but it also held opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, and to demonstrate the power of the human spirit. And for Kyan, she would face every challenge, overcome every obstacle, and continue to prove that love and determination could shine brighter than the cold void of space. As Alara prepared for sleep, she looked out at the stars once more. The universe seemed vast and infinite, but she no longer felt small. She was a human, capable of adapting, innovating, and thriving. And that capability, she realized, could change everything, not just for her, but for all of humanity. The night passed quietly, but Alara's dreams were filled with possibilities. She dreamed of Kyan smiling, of new inventions, and of humans and aliens working together to create a better future. She dreamed of challenges met and victories won. She dreamed of a brighter life, not just for herself, but for all humans brave enough to reach for the stars. When she awoke, the station was alive with energy once more. Another day awaited, filled with work, learning, and opportunities to demonstrate human resilience. Alara took a deep breath, ready to face it all. Her journey had begun in sacrifice, but now it was becoming a journey of discovery, hope, and human achievement. And as the station moved silently among the stars, Alara knew that no matter the challenges ahead, humans had the power to thrive, even in a world beyond their own, and to illuminate the universe with their spirit. Alara had begun to settle into the rhythm of life on the station. Each day brought new tasks, new lessons, and new discoveries. She had learned to navigate the complex corridors, to understand alien behaviors, and to work alongside humans and other species with confidence. Yet despite all her accomplishments, she knew that the real challenges were still ahead. One morning, as she prepared for her daily duties, a loud announcement echoed throughout the station. "Attention all personnel," the voice boomed. "An unexpected systems failure has been detected in the central reactor. Immediate action is required. All teams report to their stations." Alara's heart raced. The central reactor was the lifeblood of the station, supplying energy to every system, from life support to communications to propulsion. A failure here could put everyone's life in danger, including her son's, whose treatment depended on the station's stability. She ran to her station, joining a mix of humans and aliens already working frantically to assess the situation. Panic rippled through some of the newer recruits, but Alara felt a calm determination take hold. She had faced fear before, losing Kyan, and that fear had taught her focus, quick thinking, and persistence. The team's lead, Maris, instructed everyone to begin diagnostics. Holographic screens displayed complex energy flows, and alarms blared every few seconds. The aliens were skilled, calculating, and precise, but the humans had a spark of creativity and intuition that made them indispensable in moments like this. Alara studied the data, her mind moving quickly. She noticed subtle irregularities in the energy patterns, small, almost imperceptible deviations that the main system hadn't flagged. She pointed them out to Maris. "Look here," she said, tracing the lines on the holographic display. "These conduits are overloaded, but only intermittently. If we redistribute the energy in a specific sequence, we can stabilize the system before it escalates." Maris raised an eyebrow, impressed. "That's a human solution, creative and intuitive. Prepare the team to implement your sequence." Alara gave the instructions calmly, guiding humans and aliens alike. Some were hesitant, unfamiliar with her methods, but her confidence and clarity reassured them. They followed her plan, adjusting energy flows and rerouting power with precision. Minutes felt like hours, but slowly the alarms began to subside. Energy levels stabilized and the reactor's systems returned to normal. Relief washed over the room and a wave of applause echoed through the station's comm channels. "You did it," Mari said, smiling. "You saved the station. Today you've shown the power of human intuition under pressure." Never forget this. Humans are capable of incredible things when they rise to the challenge. Alara felt a surge of pride, but her thoughts immediately returned to Kyan. She could almost imagine his smile, his tiny hands gripping hers. She had saved him indirectly by saving the station, and that knowledge strengthened her resolve. Humans had the ability to endure, to create, and to protect, not just themselves, but everyone around them. Over the next few days, the station's administrators recognized Alara's abilities. She was invited to join a special task force focused on innovation and problem-solving, a team of humans and aliens dedicated to improving the station's systems. Alara was nervous but excited. She had never imagined that her skills, honed through years of struggle on her home planet, would be valued in such a high-stakes environment. She felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. Her new team included other humans who had also risen through difficult circumstances. Each of them had a story of sacrifice, determination, and resilience. Alara quickly bonded with them, sharing experiences and learning from one another. Together, they formed a small but powerful unit, a microcosm of human ingenuity and spirit. One day, the team received a new assignment: to improve the station's communication system, which connected humans and aliens across the galaxy. The current system was functional but outdated, causing delays and errors in critical messages. The project was complex, requiring technical skill, creativity, and collaboration. Alara threw herself into the work. She studied the system's architecture, analyzed data flow, and brainstormed innovative solutions. She suggested modifications that simplified processes, increased speed, and reduced errors. Her ideas were initially met with skepticism by some alien colleagues, but as they tested her solutions, results spoke for themselves. Her work gained attention from the highest levels of the station's administration. Director Rawl himself visited her team, observing their progress. "You humans have a unique quality," he said. "You combine creativity, adaptability, and persistence in ways that other species rarely demonstrate. Keep it up." Alara felt a mixture of pride and humility. She was still here for Kyan, but she could not deny that her contributions mattered. Humans had the ability to shine even in environments that were foreign, complex, and challenging. One evening, as she walked along the observation deck, she reflected on everything she had learned. The stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vastness of the universe. Yet humans were carving their place in it, not through brute force or luck, but through intelligence, perseverance, and compassion. Suddenly, a distress signal flashed across the communication system. Another station in a nearby sector had encountered a critical failure. Without immediate assistance, the lives of thousands were at risk. Alara's team was tasked with responding. They quickly mobilized, coordinating with other stations, analyzing the problem and planning a solution. The situation was tense, but Alara felt the familiar spark of determination. Humans thrived under pressure, and this was their chance to prove it again. The journey to the troubled station was tense. Meteoroids and debris floated in the dark void of space, and precise navigation was crucial. Alara worked alongside pilots, engineers, and alien specialists, coordinating every move. When they arrived, the problem was even worse than expected. The station's core systems were failing, and emergency protocols had already been triggered. Alara quickly assessed the situation and suggested a series of unconventional steps that would stabilize the station temporarily while a permanent solution was implemented. Some of the aliens were hesitant, wary of her human intuition, but Alara's confidence and clarity convinced them to follow her plan. Piece by piece, they worked together, rerouting power, repairing damaged systems, and restoring stability. Hours later, the crisis was averted. The station was safe, and thousands of lives were preserved. Humans and aliens alike praised Alara's leadership and ingenuity. Once again, she had demonstrated that humanity's spark, creativity, courage, and adaptability could shine even in the darkest moments. That night, as the team returned to their own station, Alara felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had started her journey out of necessity, driven by love for Kyan. But she had discovered something extraordinary. Humans were capable of greatness not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. Her experiences had changed her. She was no longer just a mother fighting for her child's life. She had become a problem solver, a leader, and a symbol of what humans could achieve. Her skills, courage, and determination had earned the respect of species across the galaxy. Yet she remained humble. Every success reminded her why she was here, for Kyan. She communicated daily with the medical team overseeing his treatment, watching as he grew stronger with each passing day. His progress was a constant reminder of the stakes, and it fueled her determination. Alara also realized that humans' greatest strength was not just intelligence or creativity, but the ability to care. Compassion, empathy, and the desire to protect others were qualities that made humans remarkable. These traits, combined with ingenuity and courage, allowed them to thrive even in the harshest environments. As she prepared for sleep, Alara reflected on the journey so far. She had arrived at the station out of desperation, uncertain and afraid. She had faced challenges that tested every skill she had, yet she had grown stronger, more capable, and more confident. Humans had the ability to rise above adversity, to innovate, and to protect not just themselves, but all those around them. And as she looked out at the stars once more, she felt a sense of hope and purpose. The universe was vast, full of challenges and opportunities, but humans had the spark to illuminate even the darkest corners. Alara knew that more tests awaited her. The station would continue to face threats, and the galaxy would present challenges beyond imagination. But she also knew this. Humans had the power to endure, to adapt, and to succeed, and she was living proof of that power. Her journey had begun with sacrifice, but now it had become a journey of discovery, courage, and the triumph of human spirit. And for Kyan, she would continue to shine, proving that love, determination, and ingenuity could overcome any obstacle, even in the vastness of space. Alara woke to the hum of the station, sunlight filtering through the large observation windows. The events of the past weeks had changed her. She no longer felt like an outsider fighting for survival. She was part of a team, a community, and more importantly, she was becoming someone who could make a real difference. Today, her responsibilities were greater. Director Rahl had called her for a private meeting. The hallway to his office felt different, less intimidating, and more like a bridge to opportunities she had never imagined. "Good morning, Alara," Rahl said, gesturing for her to sit. "Your performance during the reactor incident and the nearby station crisis has not gone unnoticed. Humans on this station and across our allied systems have proven their worth, but you have proven something more, leadership potential." Alara's heart raced. Leadership. She had only ever thought of herself as a worker, someone who survived for Kyan. The idea of leading others was new, frightening, and yet exciting. "We are assigning you a new role," Rahl continued. "You will oversee a project to improve life for all residents on the station. Your task is not just technical, it is about people, resource distribution, collaboration, efficiency, and morale. We believe you can lead this initiative." Alara nodded slowly. The weight of responsibility pressed on her, but she felt ready. For Kyan, for herself, and for the humans on the station, she would rise to the challenge. Her first step was to assemble a team. She chose a mix of humans and aliens, each with unique skills. Some were brilliant engineers, others were adept at resource management, and some had experience in diplomacy and cultural understanding. Alara realized that a good leader had to balance talents and personalities, bringing out the best in everyone. The team's first challenge was simple in concept, but difficult in execution. Improve the station's daily operations to make life easier for all inhabitants. Alara started by observing routines, speaking with residents, and noting inefficiencies. Humans, she noticed, were particularly good at improvising solutions, while aliens excelled in long-term planning and precision. By combining these strengths, the team began designing a more harmonious system. Alara introduced new schedules for resource deliveries, organized shared workspaces to encourage collaboration, and created small community programs to boost morale. The results were almost immediate. Humans and aliens alike began to notice a sense of order, a sense of belonging. The station felt warmer, more alive, more like a community instead of just a collection of individuals. One day, during a review of the energy systems, a minor crisis threatened to disrupt operations. A sudden spike in energy consumption caused some sectors to flicker, alarms ringing across the station. Panic was brief. Alara had anticipated this possibility. She guided her team through a rapid response, using both human intuition and alien precision to stabilize the systems. "Excellent coordination," Rawl said afterward. "Humans are adaptable, but your ability to combine talent and strategy elevates everyone. You are creating not just solutions, but a culture." Alara smiled, thinking of Kyan. Her work was no longer just about survival. It was about building a future, a brighter life for her child and others who had once been overlooked. Weeks passed, and Alara's leadership transformed the station. The energy systems ran more efficiently, the communication networks were smoother, and residents reported higher satisfaction with daily life. Humans on the station began to gain recognition for their resourcefulness, ingenuity, and leadership. Aliens, once skeptical, now sought guidance and collaboration with them. Yet the greatest test was still ahead. Reports arrived of a nearby sector under threat. A rival alien faction, aggressive and technologically advanced, had challenged one of the station's allied outposts. The potential for conflict was high, and failure could result in significant damage or loss of life. Alara's team was called to assist in planning the defense strategy. It was a delicate situation. Diplomacy, intelligence, and technology all had to work together. Alara quickly assessed the data, proposed contingency plans, and coordinated with both human and alien leaders. Her ability to combine strategy with adaptability and human ingenuity became the key to success. The defense preparations were intense. Humans contributed innovative tactics that leveraged small advantages, while aliens provided advanced technology and precision. Alara guided them all, ensuring every team member understood their role and how their strengths complemented others. When the confrontation finally occurred, it was swift and precise. The rival faction attempted to breach the outpost's defenses, but the combined human-alien strategy held firm. Humans played a crucial role, anticipating moves and responding creatively, turning potential disaster into victory. Afterward, as the station celebrated the successful defense, Rawl approached Alara. "You have done more than save lives," he said. "You have demonstrated that humans, when guided by courage and ingenuity, can influence outcomes far beyond what anyone imagined. You are shaping a brighter life, not just for your child, but for all humans and allies across our systems." Alara felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Her journey had begun in desperation, with her heart focused solely on saving Kyan. But through determination, courage, and human ingenuity, she had discovered her true potential. She was capable of leadership, innovation, and inspiring others. Humans could thrive, adapt, and shine, even in the cold vastness of space. In her private moments, Alara still thought of Kyan. She checked the communication device frequently, hearing of his progress and growth. Each report brought joy and renewed purpose. She realized that her sacrifices were no longer burdens. They were investments in a future full of hope, not just for herself, but for her child and for all humans. Alara also began mentoring other humans on the station. She shared her experiences, teaching them how to adapt, innovate, and collaborate. She encouraged them to take pride in their abilities and to trust their instincts. Slowly, a culture of human excellence began to flourish within the station, recognized by aliens and humans alike. One evening, as she walked along the observation deck, Alara looked out at the stars. The universe seemed endless, but she no longer felt small. She was part of something greater, a living proof that humans could thrive anywhere, transform challenges into opportunities, and create a life of meaning and purpose. Her thoughts returned to Kyan. One day she would return to him fully, not just as a mother who had saved his life, but as a woman who had built a brighter world, a life filled with hope, opportunity, and inspiration. She could imagine him growing up surrounded by love, ingenuity, and courage. He would know that humans were capable of incredible things, not only because she had told him, but because he had witnessed it through her actions. The station continued to hum with life, a testament to human and alien collaboration. Residents moved with purpose, communities flourished, and a sense of optimism spread. Alara had transformed the environment, not through power alone, but through leadership, creativity, and the uniquely human ability to inspire and adapt. In her quiet moments, she reflected on how far she had come. From desperation to hope, from survival to leadership, she had proven that humans could rise above any obstacle. Her journey was far from over, but the foundation was strong. She had built systems, strengthened communities, and demonstrated humanity's capacity for resilience and brilliance. And through it all, Kyan remained at the center of her purpose. Her work was no longer a means to an end. It was a way to ensure a future where he could thrive. She had transformed her sacrifice into opportunity, her fear into action, and her love into inspiration. As the station rotated silently in orbit, bathed in the light of distant stars, Alara knew that the brightest part of the universe was not just the stars. They were humans, capable of creating, leading, and building a life worth living, no matter how challenging the circumstances. Alara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility balanced by the light of achievement. Her journey had begun with a choice to save her child, but it had grown into something greater, a mission to demonstrate humanity's strength, compassion, and ingenuity across the stars. The future was uncertain, as it always is, but Alara faced it with confidence. Humans could endure, adapt, and thrive. And in that truth, she found hope, purpose, and the promise of a brighter life for herself, for Kyan, and for all those who dared to reach for the stars. Alara had grown into her role as a leader on the station. The once daunting corridors and unfamiliar technology now felt like home. Every day, she guided teams of humans and aliens, improving systems, solving problems, and inspiring those around her. Yet even as she thrived, she never forgot why she had come here. Kyan, her son, who depended on her love and determination for his life. The station was alive with energy, a hub of innovation and cooperation. Humans were gaining respect, admired for their adaptability, courage, and creativity. Aliens who had once doubted their abilities now sought their insight. Alara, as a human leader, had become a symbol of what humans could achieve. One morning, alarms sounded across the station. Reports came in of a massive meteor storm approaching. The storm threatened not only the station but nearby colonies. The scale of the threat was unprecedented, and panic rippled through some sections. Yet Alara remained calm, focusing on the solution. She gathered her team in the central command room. Holographic displays showed hundreds of fast-moving meteors, each with the potential to cause catastrophic damage. "We need a plan," Alara said, her voice steady. "We cannot stop the meteors, but we can protect the station and the surrounding colonies. Humans and aliens together can make this work." The team quickly divided responsibilities. Humans would focus on improvisation, deploying shields, rerouting energy, and creating contingency plans. Aliens would use their advanced technology to predict trajectories, calculate impact points, and reinforce defenses. Alara coordinated the efforts, ensuring communication was clear and decisions were precise. She guided her team through rapid calculations, strategic placement of shields, and rerouting of power systems. Humans brought creativity, intuition, and quick thinking. Aliens brought precision, speed, and advanced technology. Together, they became a force greater than the sum of their parts. Hours passed in tense focus. Meteors struck with force, rattling the station, but the combined human-alien strategies held firm. Shields absorbed impacts, energy was rerouted, and minor damage was repaired instantly. Every challenge was met with ingenuity and courage. During the height of the storm, one particularly large meteor threatened the main reactor. Failure would mean disaster, not just for the station, but for all the colonies connected to its energy grid. Alara took command. "We can divert the energy to create a temporary repulsion field. It's risky, but it might be our only chance." Some of the alien specialists hesitated. The risk was high, but Alara's confidence and calm determination inspired trust. "Humans have faced impossible odds before," she said. "We will succeed if we act together. Trust in your abilities and in ours." The team implemented her plan. Energy flowed through channels she had designed, repulsion fields activated, and the massive meteor shifted course just enough to avoid catastrophic impact. The storm raged on, but the station survived. When the last meteor passed, the team erupted in relief and celebration. Humans cheered, aliens expressed admiration, and even Director Rawl appeared on the command deck. "You have done the impossible," he said to Alara. "This station, these colonies, and countless lives owe their safety to human ingenuity and leadership." Today, humans have proven once more that they can rise to any challenge. Alara felt a mixture of exhaustion and pride. She had led not just with knowledge, but with empathy, courage, and determination. Humans had a spark, an ability to inspire, innovate, and persevere under pressure. And in that spark, she saw a reflection of her own journey. That evening, Alara finally had a quiet moment to connect with Kyan. The communication device showed him smiling, stronger than ever, responding to the treatment that had once seemed impossible to afford. Her heart swelled. She had sacrificed so much to reach this point, and now she saw the reward, a healthy child and a world she could help shape. Alara thought about her life before the station, the cramped apartment, the endless worry, the fear of losing Kyan. She had stepped into the unknown out of desperation, but she had found a purpose far greater than she could have imagined. She had discovered that humans, even in a universe filled with advanced aliens, could shine brilliantly through resilience, creativity, and compassion. The weeks following the meteor storm brought reflection and growth. Alara began mentoring other humans on the station, sharing strategies for leadership, problem-solving, and adaptation. She encouraged them to trust their instincts and take initiative. Slowly, a culture of human excellence began to flourish across the station. Humans were no longer seen as vulnerable or ordinary. They were innovators, leaders, and vital contributors. Alara also focused on long-term improvements. She implemented education programs for younger humans, teaching them skills in engineering, communication, and collaboration. She encouraged them to explore, innovate, and believe in their potential. Her efforts were creating a legacy, one that would ensure that humanity could thrive not just on this station, but in the wider galaxy. One day, a delegation of alien leaders approached her. They had observed the humans' impact on the station and wanted to collaborate more closely. Alara negotiated programs that allowed humans to share their ingenuity while learning from alien technology. The partnership strengthened bonds, fostered trust, and created a model for interstellar cooperation. As the station stabilized and thrived, Alara took a moment to reflect. Her journey had begun with sacrifice and fear, driven by a mother's love. Yet it had grown into a story of human achievement, ingenuity, and inspiration. She realized that humanity's greatest strength was not just intelligence or skill, but the ability to care, to act with courage, and to persevere in the face of adversity. Her thoughts returned to Kyan. One day she would bring him to the station, not just as a patient who had been saved, but as a child who could witness the fruits of human determination. She imagined him exploring corridors filled with knowledge, curiosity, and opportunity. She wanted him to see that humans could create, innovate, and thrive anywhere, even among the stars. Alara's leadership extended beyond practical achievements. She inspired hope, showing that humans could rise to challenges, protect others, and leave a lasting impact. Her influence reached across species, teaching cooperation, empathy, and innovation. The station had become a brighter place because of her courage, determination, and belief in humanity's potential. Yet she remained humble. Every success reminded her of the sacrifices she had made and the journey that had brought her here. She had faced fear, uncertainty, and impossible odds, but she had endured. She had transformed her desperation into opportunity, her love for Kyan into a mission that benefited countless others. As the station rotated silently in orbit, bathed in the glow of distant stars, Alara walked along the observation deck. She watched ships come and go, colonies thriving below, and distant galaxies shining with possibility. She felt a deep sense of peace. Humanity had a place among the stars, not because it was the strongest or the most advanced, but because it could adapt, innovate, and inspire. Alara knew that challenges would continue to arise. The universe was vast and unpredictable. But she also knew that humans had the spark to face them, and that spark burned brightly within her. She had proven that love, courage, and ingenuity could overcome the harshest obstacles. She thought of Kyan once more. Her child's laughter, curiosity, and growing strength were the greatest reward she could imagine. The life she had fought to protect was now intertwined with a future full of opportunity, discovery, and hope. She had given him more than survival. She had given him a chance to live in a universe where humans could shine. Alara turned back toward her quarters, a quiet smile on her face. Her journey had begun in sacrifice, but it had led to growth, achievement, and a lasting legacy. She had discovered the power of humanity, to endure, to create, and to uplift. And that power, she realized, could light the way for generations to come. The station continued its orbit, a beacon of cooperation, innovation, and hope. Humans and aliens worked together, building a world that reflected the best qualities of both. And at the heart of it all, Alara stood as proof that love, determination, and human ingenuity could transform the impossible into reality. In the quiet of the observation deck, she whispered to the stars, to the universe, and to Kyan. "This is our life, our future, and our legacy. Humans will shine no matter the darkness, no matter the odds." And with that, Alara felt the full weight of hope and achievement. The journey of sacrifice had led to a life of purpose. Humanity had proven its brilliance. And her child, her reason for everything, would grow up in a brighter, safer, and more inspiring world. A world shaped by human courage, love, and resilience.